So the last question is, what are your strategies for stopping procrastination? And this topic is very near and dear to my heart because I think a lot about time management. And I think essentially what this question is asking is, how can I better manage my time so I don't procrastinate, right? I actually wrote an article about this, which I will drop in the description. But let me quickly kind of walk through the main pillars of how I think about my time management system in case that's helpful. The first part of it is just one thing, and this is the most important one, that the biggest mistake that people make with time management and what leads to procrastination is that they're trying to do too much. They say, okay, I have 10 things I want to get done today. But you almost certainly won't get 10 things done today. And that is indicating to me that you haven't been able to properly prioritize the things that you need to do. So a much better way of actually getting things done is to pick one thing or maybe two things that you are actually very confident that you can accomplish within that day. And the benefit of actually committing to one thing that you want to do is that then you can automatically, your brain will start to think about what is the next actionable thing, the next physical thing that I need to do in order to get this goal achieved by the end of the day. And that is really where a lot of the meta work is happening. And that meta work is what prevents procrastination. Because, for example, like you might have the objective of like, I want to redesign a website. But that's so broad and so vague that I will almost certainly procrastinate on it because I just don't know how to make progress on redesigning a website. But if I have it in my head and I start thinking about it while I'm going to bed, I can start to decompose that and say, okay, redesign a website means I want to redesign this particular screen of my application and use the Bootstrap framework or whatever else, like Tailwind CSS framework, whatever framework I want. And I want to update this particular part of it. Like you automatically will start going through in your head, like what exactly needs to get done. And that is the key thing that will help you beat procrastination, is that clarity will actually lead to action. So you need to be very clear about what you're trying to achieve. And the other thing about this pillar, just one thing, is that you need to write it down. The biggest thing about time management for me is that you can't rely on your brain to do things. You have to have a system that you trust, whether that's a Google Doc or a sticky note or a Notion document, whatever. I don't really care about what your system is. You have to have some system which allows you to get things out of your head and onto paper. And that is where you can revisit and keep updating as things change and as you make new goals. So that's number one. Just do one thing, and that one thing will lead to action because you'll have clarity on it, and you also want to write things down, and that will help free up your brain for more creative work. The second thing is reflection. So as you think about what, like basically at the end of every week, you should think about what happened during that week. Were there hours or entire days where you just didn't feel like you got anything done? And think about what did you actually spend your time on? And basically you want to kind of, using reflection, you want to think about what are the scenarios or the times when you feel like you can actually get a lot of things done, and what are the times when you are just not in the good mindset to achieve anything. And again, I think writing things down here is really important. You need to be able to have like a sticky note or some sort of document where you say, okay, here are like 3 things this week that I think went really well, where I felt really productive, and here are 3 things where I felt like I just got nothing done. That is really how you're able to keep improving over time and beat procrastination. And the third thing is focus. I think that there are so many ways using your mobile phone. There's an infinite number of ways that you can be entertained in a mindless way, whether that's TikTok or Twitter or Reddit or Instagram, whatever, pick your favorite app, right? It's so easy to like, you got stuck on a bug, quickly check your phone and pull out YouTube, right? It's so easy to get stuck in that cycle. And that also will lead to you just not getting anything done in your day or in your week. And so to combat that, you have to create an environment around you such that these quick sugar pills, essentially, like that's what TikTok is or Instagram, like these quick dopamine hits are harder for you to access. So for me, what that means is I put my phone away from arm's reach. Or a lot of people I know will have like the Pomodoro technique, which is where they have like a 25-minute dedicated block where they focus, and they know that there's a break coming up at the end of the 25 minutes, and that will allow them opportunity to focus during that 25-minute block. So whatever your system is, but you have to have some way to set up your environment or some system that you can trust, which will give you that gift of focus. So those are kind of the three things: just one thing, reflection, and focus. Those are like the three ways that I am able to get things done consistently.
I have kind of two meta points here that apply to procrastination that I've talked about for many other topics in tech as well. Number one, finding a buddy is really powerful. If you're procrastinating, it means that your brain doesn't really feel enough pressure to start doing the work. One of the easiest ways to add pressure is to add social pressure. If you have a project and you are working with a bunch of other people that you care about, like humans naturally don't want to let other humans down. So that is a huge kind of motivation, like for your brain to kind of like wake up and start doing the work earlier rather than later, because you don't want to disappoint your teammates. The second meta point I have is if you are procrastinating something regularly, you are working within the space, and then when you do a project within that space, you're regularly procrastinating it no matter what you try. It might be worth zooming out and looking at the space as a whole and like really contemplating, like, is this space something I'm actually passionate about? And then if you're privileged enough to be in a position where you can just move off of it, maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe you're procrastinating because you're not really doing the right thing. You're not in the right space. Like you need to do something else in tech. And yeah, that could be the solution to procrastination. Because I guarantee you, if you find something that you genuinely love that doesn't feel like work, and for me, that's building Android apps, you're pretty much never going to procrastinate because you're just so excited to make progress like all the time and show your cool work to everyone.